Welcome to part 3 of session 8 of IIA Advanced Training Phase 2. So now that we installed this successfully, let us look into different features and let us try to build a basic 3D model in this. And while we are doing that, I'll explain you, how to proceed further. So guys, this part here, the the drop down which says start, by default, is very important for us. So we may not be able to go through all the options here because it is very exhaustive, and then it requires a lot more of mechanical designing knowledge. So for the time being, let us stick to 1 or 2 points, right? So maybe we go to part design or part. Okay, let us just go to part first, right? So in the drop down menu we choose part. Great. So as soon as you choose part, you have different options here, right? Like there's a option for you to change orientation, there are basic shapes, there's rotation, reflection, all these options. So whenever you place your cursor on these options, there's a small info window that opens up, right? Like suppose you place your cursor here, it says create a cube solid. So when I say solid cube, it means it is filled inside, like it is not a hollow, it is a cube that is solid. And here when I put, it says cylinder, create a cylinder, and create a solid sphere solid, right? So this can be used as guides for you, as for you guys to understand what are the various options. So what we do is, let me just pick a cylinder first. Okay, I'll just create a cylinder first. So when you see here, when I clicked on the cylinder, there is a circle that appeared, right? But why did a circle come when I say cylinder? So this is where I want you to focus on the view part of it, right? So here we are in the top view. You can change the view, right? So there are different views. This is left view, this is bottom view. Again you come to the right view, again you come to the top view, right? So you can see the front view, the back view, the bottom view, and again you're back to the top view. Like you see the options to the right side of the workspace. So guys, when you're using a mouse, you can actually play with this, right? Like you can actually move it here and there, and then here there are certain standard options. So if you see this is isometric view. Now don't ask me what isometric view is. Like uh, okay, maybe isometric view is the view that lets you visualize something in 3D, right? Like it's one of the views, one of the standard views. It is isometric. So maybe you want to Google more for more details on what's isometric, and here you have different views: the front view, the top view, and so on and so forth, right? So these are different options available for us. So let us come back to the top view again, right? So here we are in the top view, and here you can see this. And here if you see the view data, like you view part of it, like when you click on the cylinder here, when I create a part, automatically it comes up in the drop down on this pane to the left. So in under the model tab and tasks tab, you have different options, and under the model tab you have the cylinder. And guys, uh, maybe I'm slightly going a bit faster in this because I'll have to cover whatever is required within a short time frame. But then the thing is, these kind of tools are understood only by practice. So even if I go a bit fast, it doesn't mean you can't catch up with me. Just pause the video, try to get your hands dirty, try to start working on this. See, there's nothing wrong, right? It's not like you're making a physical model. So even if something goes wrong, you can always start a new diagram, or you can always undo it, right? So what we do is, let us go to the cylinder, and then here in the bottom pane you have two options. One is the view and one is the data, right? So the view thing is not really helpful for us, right? So let us go to the data part of it. Let us now, if you see, when I click on data, there's nothing appearing, right? That is because there's no selection. So I'll have to click on the cylinder, and then I'll have to click on the data. So guys, before I start changing the measurements of it, and maybe before I start making any updates to this, I want you to understand something called as an axis. Okay, so an axis is something that is like an imaginary line, just like equator is the imaginary line that runs through the center of the earth. there are different axes of reference that you choose in modeling. So for some guys this kind of information might be overwhelming, but just try to understand my analogy. Suppose say you're talking in terms of height, right? The axis is from bottom to your roof. Like for your house, if you consider the height, it is from the bottom to the rooftop, so it is vertical. So when you say the length, it is horizontal. When you say the width, it is also horizontal, but it is perpendicular to the length, like it is 90 degrees, right? Like it forms a right angle. Now if you don't know what a right angle is, what a 90 degrees is, probably this video is not suitable for you. You'll have to wait until you learn this concept and you'll have to come back. And guys, whatever the information we are discussing in this, especially in the 3D modeling, it's going to be slightly complex for the younger kids. So that is still fine, guys. Just try to Google whatever you don't understand, because even if you get in touch with me, I won't be able to give you a complete explanation because we are not physically meeting each other. So maybe if you need something, Google and YouTube are the best sources. Whatever term you don't understand, whatever terminology or jargon you don't understand, just feel free to go Google and YouTube, right? So here let me show you in these options, like I can change the various measurements of this. Maybe I can make it smaller by typing 1, or maybe I can make it larger by typing 3. Do you see the change, guys? And there is something like arrow for me, so that I can change this in terms of different increments, right? So let us make it 1 millimeter radius, which means 2 millimeters diameter. So just understand that, guys. And here let me make the height maybe like 7, but you're not able to see any change because it is in the top view, right? So maybe if you make it in a different view, this is the view, right? So in this view, if I change the height, you'll be able to see the change. See, you're able to see the change, right? Like increments of 1 mm. So let us make it 7. And here, guys, the angle does not really matter, because especially in the case of a cylinder, the angle is not very useful. Even if you change the angle, it looks absolutely the same, because cylinder has something called as symmetry. Now don't ask me what symmetry is, because it is pretty much self-explanatory. So when I say symmetry, it means that along a line or an axis, an object is identical. Suppose you draw a line on your face, the left side of your face is identical to the right side, right? So that is called symmetry. So that's about it, guys. These are the basic features. Now what I want you guys to do was just build some basic shapes, right? So in the next session, that is session 9, we'll go slightly into the advanced concepts like fillets, and we'll see how to make cuts. We'll see how to draw reference lines, reference objects, and in session 9 we'll try to wrap up FreeCAD. And if there is a possibility, I will cover SolidWorks in session 10, but I cannot promise, because SolidWorks is a paid software and I'll have to take the permission to make a video beforehand, right? So let me take care of that meanwhile, and in the session 9 I'll go into the deeper aspects of FreeCAD, so that you'll be able to build some tools on your own. So that's about it, guys. These are the 3 sessions, and I hope with this session you're able to familiarize yourself with the interface of FreeCAD. And just at any point in time, if you feel this is like overwhelming for you, this information is too much, don't worry. I'm there to clarify all your doubts, and just give it some time, let the information sink in, and then you can actually start building your own 3D models, right, guys? So take care. See you in session 9.